The morning shift change at Korath Military Station Delta 9 proceeded normally until the orbital defense platforms went offline. All 12 satellites surrounding the strategic facility simply stopped responding to commands. Engineering teams scrambled to diagnose the problem while Admiral Vex tried to contain his growing panic. "How is this possible?" Vex demanded.
"These systems have triple redundancy."
"We're not sure, sir," Chief Engineer Malks replied, studying the diagnostic readouts. "The hardware appears functional, but the control software is completely unresponsive." Similar reports flooded in from across Korath space. Defense platforms, communication arrays, and even civilian infrastructure were experiencing simultaneous failures. The sophisticated technology that had protected their civilization for centuries was turning unreliable. On Volani Prime, Trade Minister Glix faced his own crisis. Manufacturing facilities throughout the Union were reporting equipment malfunctions. Production lines stopped mid-operation. Quality control systems began rejecting perfectly good products. Transport schedules fell into chaos as navigation computers provided incorrect coordinates. "Sir," his aide reported nervously, "we're receiving failure reports from 17 different systems. The pattern appears random, but the timing seems coordinated." "Coordinated by whom?" "Only we have access to these systems. That's what makes it so concerning, sir." Glix rubbed his temples with 2 of his 4 hands. The Union's economy depended on precise coordination between thousands of facilities. Even minor disruptions cost millions of credits. Major system failures like these could destabilize entire sectors. In the depths of Nexus Prime's government complex, Human Ambassador Minho requested an emergency meeting with the Galactic Council. His formal diplomatic message cited concerns regarding trade agreement implementation and human worker safety. The council chambers were nearly empty when Minho arrived. Most representatives considered human concerns unworthy of serious attention. Only a handful of minor species bothered to attend. "Honored council members," Minho began, "Earth formally requests a review of current trade agreements between humanity and the Galactic Commerce Union." Council Chairman Vax, an ancient Volani with scarred skin, barely looked up from his datapad. "Human complaints are noted. Next agenda item. With respect, sir, these are not complaints. They are documented violations of galactic law." That got Vax's attention. "Explain." Minho activated a holographic display showing detailed financial records. Union mining operations on human worlds have extracted 4 times the contracted amounts of rare Earth elements. Payment to Earth has been consistently below agreed rates. Human workers have been forced to work in unsafe conditions that violate Union labor standards. "Impossible," Vax declared. "All operations follow standard protocols." These records suggest otherwise. Minho expanded the display to show shipping manifests, production reports, and safety violation logs. Furthermore, we have evidence that Union representatives deliberately misrepresented the terms of Earth's membership during initial negotiations. The evidence was overwhelming and precisely documented. Every transaction, every safety violation, every instance of fraud was recorded in exacting detail. The humans had been keeping perfect records for 7 years. Vax studied the data with growing unease. "Where did you obtain these records?" "Human workers are naturally observant," Minho replied calmly. "We learn by watching." What Vax didn't realize was that humans had been systematically infiltrating every level of Union operations. The maintenance workers, cultural ambassadors, and research assistants had been gathering intelligence from day one. Every conversation overheard, every document accessed, every system observed had been carefully recorded and analyzed. On the industrial world of Vex Station, Donghyun was no longer pretending to be a simple maintenance technician. When the shipyard's main computer network crashed, he was the only engineer capable of restoring functionality. "How do you know so much about our systems?" Engineer Zilf asked suspiciously. "I watch and learn," Donghyun replied, his fingers flying over control interfaces with practiced skill. "Humans are good at pattern recognition. But some of these procedures, you're using techniques we haven't taught anyone. I improved them. Human engineering philosophy emphasizes efficiency." Donghyun was telling the truth, but not the whole truth. He had indeed improved the alien systems, but his improvements came from 7 years of studying captured alien technology. Human engineers had reverse-engineered every component. identified every weakness, and developed superior alternatives. The improvements Donghyun implemented weren't just more efficient. They gave humans complete control over the station's operations. Every ship that docked could be monitored, tracked, or even disabled if necessary. Throughout the galaxy, similar scenes played out as human workers revealed unexpected competencies. The maintenance technician who could repair any machine, the cultural ambassador who spoke 12 alien languages fluently, the research assistant who understood advanced physics better than his supervisors. On the remote research station orbiting Wolf 359, Dr. Somin made her own revelation to the alien science team. "I've been analyzing the gravitational wave data," she announced during the morning briefing. "I found some interesting patterns you might have missed." Dr. Vorth laughed condescendingly. "My dear human, we've been studying this data for months. What could you possibly—" "Your detection algorithms have a systematic error," Somin interrupted, displaying her analysis. "You're missing approximately 30% of all wave events because your pattern recognition protocols assume symmetric source configurations." The alien scientists studied her work in stunned silence. Not only was she correct, but her mathematical analysis was more sophisticated than anything they had produced. "How did you learn to do this level of analysis?" Dr. Vorth asked weakly. "I've been listening to your lectures for 2 years," Somin replied. "I'm a fast learner." In reality, Somin had been in constant communication with Earth's most advanced research institutions. Every alien technique she learned was immediately shared with human scientists, who then improved upon it and transmitted the enhanced knowledge back to human agents throughout the galaxy. The revelation that shook the galactic community most came from an unexpected source. During a routine inspection of the mining operation on Zerion 3, Korath supervisor Grex discovered that the human miners had been building something extraordinary. "What is this?" Grex demanded, staring at the massive construction hidden beneath the mining facility. Foreman Wu Jin smiled for the first time in 7 years. "Industrial complex. We've been manufacturing equipment for our people. The underground facility stretched for kilometers in every direction. Production lines assembled advanced machinery using techniques that combined the best of human and alien engineering. The operation was more sophisticated than most alien manufacturing centers." "Impossible. You don't have the knowledge to build something like this." "We learn fast," Wu Jin replied. "You've been excellent teachers." Grex suddenly understood the full scope of what he was seeing. The humans hadn't been mining crystals. They had been mining knowledge. Every alien supervisor, every technical manual, every operational procedure had been studied and absorbed. The equipment failures throughout Union space weren't random breakdowns. They were precisely targeted disruptions coordinated by the very humans who had been maintaining the systems all along. As reports of human capabilities flooded in from across the galaxy, Admiral Vex made a disturbing discovery in the Korath military archives. Every human research request, every technical question, every cultural exchange had been part of a systematic intelligence-gathering operation. "They've been studying us," he realized. "Everything we taught them, every weakness we revealed, every tactical doctrine we shared, they recorded all of it." But the most shocking revelation came when long-range sensors detected new ship signatures in the void between star systems. Vessels using advanced propulsion systems that no known species possessed. The ships were emerging from regions of space that aliens had always avoided as uninhabitable. The sensor operator who first spotted them was a Villani technician named Kais. She stared at her displays in disbelief, as dozens of unknown vessels materialized from seemingly empty space. "Sir," she called to her supervisor, "I'm detecting multiple unidentified ships in Sector 7G. "Impossible. That region is completely barren. The ships are using some kind of hybrid drive system. Power signatures suggest a combination of Villani gravity manipulation and Korath plasma propulsion, but the implementation is unlike anything in our databases." As the mysterious fleet moved closer, their origin became clear. Each ship bore the simple blue and white symbol of Earth. The humans had not been content to learn alien technology. They had been perfecting it. Minho's final words to the Galactic Council carried new weight when they were delivered by a species that clearly possessed military capabilities rivaling any galactic power. Earth formally withdraws from all existing trade agreements with the Galactic Commerce Union. "We will renegotiate terms as equals, or we will consider the Union a hostile entity," that has exploited our people for 7 years. The quiet revolution was complete. The servants had become masters of their own destiny. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened within hours of Earth's ultimatum. Representatives from 12 major species gathered in the Great Chamber on Nexus Prime, their faces displaying various expressions of outrage and disbelief. "This is intolerable," declared Admiral Vex, his scarred features twisted with anger. "A primitive species cannot dictate terms to the galaxy's established powers." Trade Minister Glix activated a holographic display showing economic projections. "If we lose access to human mining operations, the Union's rare earth supply will drop by 60%. Our industrial capacity would be crippled. Then we take what we need by force," General Crix of the Korath Military Command stated flatly. "One species cannot threaten the stability of galactic civilization." The Council voted unanimously for military action. Within 12 hours, the largest battle fleet in galactic history was assembling. 300 warships from 6 different species, armed with the most advanced weapons known to science. Commander Yeth of the Alaxian Deep Strike Fleet studied the tactical displays with professional satisfaction. "Earth has perhaps 50 ships based on our intelligence estimates. This will be the shortest war in galactic history." The fleet departed Nexus Prime with great fanfare. News broadcasts throughout Union space celebrated the coming victory over the upstart humans. Military experts predicted complete human surrender within days. They were correct about the timeline, but wrong about who would surrender. The human fleet that met them at the edge of the Sol system consisted of exactly 51 vessels, just as intelligence had predicted. What intelligence had failed to predict was what those ships could do. Captain Seok-jin of the Earth Defense Ship Determination watched the alien armada approach on his tactical display. The enemy ships moved in perfect formation, their energy signatures blazing like miniature stars. "All ships, this is Admiral Wu Jin," came the voice over the fleet communication channel. "Remember, we are not conquerors. We are a family defending our home. Show them what they taught us." The battle began when the Korath heavy cruiser Dominance fired the first shot. A plasma beam capable of melting through any known armor lanced across space toward the human flagship. The beam struck the Determination shields and simply stopped. The energy dissipated harmlessly across adaptive barriers that absorbed the plasma and converted it into additional shield power. "Impossible," breathed Commander Yeth. "No species has that level of defensive technology, sir," his tactical officer reported. "The human ships are using our own shield technology, but enhanced somehow. The energy absorption rate is 3 times higher than our maximum specifications." The human counterattack came not as a barrage of weapons fire, but as something far more terrifying. The alien ships simply began turning against each other. The Villani destroyer Commerce suddenly opened fire on its own formation. Korath fighters launched attacks against their motherships. Alliance vessels that had fought side by side for centuries began destroying each other without warning. "What's happening?" Admiral Vex demanded from the bridge of his command ship. "Sir, our ships are not responding to commands," his communications officer reported in panic. "The computer systems appear to be operating independently." Captain Seok-jin opened a channel to the alien fleet. "This is Earth Defense Force Captain Seok-jin. Your ships are now under our control. Surrender and we will restore your systems. Continue fighting and we will demonstrate why humans learned your technology so thoroughly." "How are you doing this?" Vex responded, his voice tight with rage and fear. "Every maintenance improvement we made to your systems over the past 7 years included remote access protocols," Seok-jin explained calmly. "Every cultural exchange program allowed us to study your command codes. Every friendly conversation with your engineers taught us how your technology really works." The scope of human infiltration became clear as ship after ship fell under remote control. The maintenance workers who had seemed so helpful, the research assistants who had asked such innocent questions, the cultural ambassadors who had been so eager to learn, all of them had been intelligence agents preparing for this exact moment. "You won't take our ships without a fight," General Crix snarled, activating manual overrides on his battlecruiser Conquest. "Korath warriors do not surrender." "We understand," replied a new voice over the communication channel. "This is Dr. Hana of the Earth Psychological Warfare Division. General, you might want to review the data we're now broadcasting to your fleet." The transmission that followed was devastating in its simplicity. 7 years of recorded conversations, showing every alien commander making disparaging remarks about their human servants. Every casual insult, every expression of contempt, every plan to exploit human labor was played back in perfect detail. But more damaging were the recordings of alien leaders discussing the deliberate deception of Earth during first contact negotiations. The casual admission that they had lied about treaty terms, the laughter as they planned to work humans to death in mining operations. Your own people are hearing their leaders' true opinions, Hana continued. Every species in your fleet now knows exactly how their governments view inferior races. Tell me, General, how many of your subordinate species still trust Korath leadership? The psychological warfare was devastating. Alliance member species that had served larger powers for generations suddenly understood their true status. Rebellion broke out across the fleet as smaller species turned on their former masters. The Terlaxian fighters, who had served as Volani shock troops for decades, suddenly reversed course and began attacking Volani command ships. The Hicks engineering crews disabled Korath vessels from within. Species after species chose human liberation over alien oppression. "This is Captain Zeep of the Hicks Engineering Corps," came a transmission from one of the rebelling ships. "We formally request asylum with Earth forces." Similar requests flooded in from dozens of vessels. The mighty galactic fleet was dissolving into chaos as humans exposed the ugly reality of alien civilization. Admiral Wu Jin's voice cut through the confusion with quiet authority. "To all alien forces, Earth offers terms for immediate cessation of hostilities. Withdraw your fleets and we will return control of your vessels. Continue this aggression and you will learn what humans do to those who threaten our family." "What can you possibly do?" Vex challenged. "Even if you control our fleet, you're still one species against the entire galaxy." "Show him," Wu Jin ordered. The response came from empty space itself. Hundreds of new contacts appeared on every sensor screen as human ships decloaked throughout the solar system. The alien fleet found itself surrounded by vessels that had been hiding in asteroid belts, behind planets, and in the shadow of Earth's moon. 200 hidden human ships, reported a stunned Volani sensor operator. They were here all along. But the true shock came when long-range sensors detected massive fleet movements throughout the galaxy. Human vessels were emerging from every region of space the aliens had dismissed as uninhabitable. "Admiral," came a report from Korath space, "we're detecting human ships in the Zirian system. They appear to be evacuating our mining facility." "Sir," added a Volani communication officer, "multiple human fleets are approaching our industrial centers. They're demanding the immediate release of all human workers." The scope of human expansion became clear as reports flooded in from across the galaxy. The species the aliens had dismissed as primitive miners had built a secret empire in the spaces between civilizations. "Captain." Seokjin's voice carried a note of cold satisfaction as he delivered the final blow. "Every world you thought was uninhabitable, we colonized. Every worker you thought was helpless, we armed. Every system you ignored, we claimed. For 7 years you taught us everything we needed to know about your weaknesses." "Impossible," Glix whispered. "Our surveys showed those worlds were barren." "Your surveys looked for life forms that matched your biological requirements," Dr. Hana explained. "Humans are remarkably adaptable. We learned to thrive in environments you couldn't imagine surviving. The genetic modifications that allowed humans to live on toxic worlds, the atmospheric processors that terraformed hostile planets, the deep space habitats built inside asteroids, all of it had been accomplished using knowledge stolen from alien databases by curious human students. The truth you need to understand," Admiral Wu Jin continued, "is that humans are persistence hunters. When threatened, we don't fight until we win a battle. We fight until the threat is completely eliminated." As if to emphasize his point, human ships throughout the galaxy began moving in perfect coordination. Mining facilities were seized. Industrial centers were occupied. Strategic resources were secured. The species that had controlled galactic civilization for millennia discovered they were no longer in control of anything. "What are your terms?" Admiral Vex asked, his voice heavy with defeat. "Complete withdrawal of all military forces from human space," Admiral Wu Jin replied. "Recognition of Earth as a sovereign power with full galactic rights. Reparations for 7 years of illegal exploitation. And immediate release of all humans currently held in forced labor. And if we refuse, then you will learn why every predator on Earth learned to fear humans." We hunted mammoths to extinction with stone tools. 4 years had passed since Earth joined the Galactic Commerce Union. The mining operations ran smoothly, and human workers labored quietly in the asteroid belts and planetary excavation sites. To outside observers, humanity appeared to have accepted their role as the galaxy's newest servant species. Ji-hoon adjusted his simple robes as he walked through the crystal corridors of the Villani Cultural Center on Nexus Prime. As Earth's appointed cultural ambassador, he spent his days sharing human art, music, and philosophy with various alien species. The Villani found human creativity amusing but primitive. "Tell me about this poetry again," asked Cultural Supervisor Thess, her silver skin shimmering with barely contained laughter. "Humans arrange words to create emotional responses?" "Yes," Ji-hoon replied patiently. "We believe that beauty can be found in language itself, not just in its practical applications." "Fascinating. So inefficient yet charming in its simplicity." Theiss made notes on her datapad. "And humans actually gather to listen to these word arrangements?" "Poetry readings are very popular on Earth. Sometimes thousands attend." What Thess didn't know was that Ji-hoon was recording every conversation. His seemingly primitive cultural exchanges were actually detailed intelligence-gathering operations. Each alien he spoke with revealed information about their society, technology, and military capabilities. On the industrial world of Korath 7, human anthropologist A-Ra worked in the military archives. Her research into primitive warfare compared to modern tactics gave her access to classified battle strategies and weapon specifications. The Korath officers enjoyed explaining why human military thinking was obsolete. "Your species still thinks in terms of ground combat," General Crix explained, showing her holographic displays of space battles. "Planetary warfare is irrelevant when you can destroy a world from orbit. How do you prevent enemies from using the same tactics against you?" Era asked innocently. "Orbital defense platforms," Crix replied, pulling up detailed schematics. "Each major world has a grid of automated weapons satellites. No hostile fleet can approach without being destroyed." Era memorized every detail while appearing to take simple notes about cultural differences in military thinking. That evening, she transmitted the defense platform specifications to a hidden human communication network. Meanwhile, on the shipyard world of Vex Station, human engineer Dong-hyun worked as a maintenance technician. His official job involved cleaning and minor repairs on alien vessels. The sophisticated Villani engineers barely noticed him as he went about his menial tasks. "Hand me the plasma torch," Engineer Zilf ordered without looking up from his work. Dong-hyun complied, then watched carefully as Zilf made adjustments to the ship's power distribution system. Over months of observation, Dong-hyun had learned more about alien technology than most species knew about each other. During his breaks, Dong-hyun made small improvements to the shipyard's efficiency. He suggested new tool arrangements that reduced work time. He recommended slight modifications to maintenance procedures that prevented equipment failures. The aliens were pleased with their clever human servant. They never noticed that Dong-hyun's improvements included hidden access points and backdoor vulnerabilities. Every system he touched gained carefully concealed flaws that could be exploited later. His maintenance schedule gave him access to nearly every ship that passed through the station. In the Deep Space Research Facility orbiting Kepler 442b, human scientist So-min worked alongside alien researchers studying stellar phenomena. Her curiosity about primitive human questions amused her colleagues. "Why do you want to understand gravitational wave patterns?" Dr. Vorth asked. "Your species lacks the technology to detect them." "We're curious about how the universe works," So-min replied. "Human children always ask why things happen." "Childlike wonder," Vorth chuckled. "At least it makes you eager to learn." So-min absorbed every lesson, but her true interest lay in the facility's long-range sensors. The detection equipment could track ships across multiple star systems. Over time, she mapped the complete military and civilian traffic patterns for 3 sectors of space. The data she gathered revealed something interesting. There were vast regions of space that alien ships avoided completely, areas marked as hazardous or uninhabitable on all official charts. So-min forwarded the coordinates to Earth using hidden channels embedded in routine cultural exchange transmissions. Back on Earth, Admiral Kyung-soo reviewed the intelligence reports in his underground command center. The Terran Defense Initiative had been busy during the 4 years of apparent servitude. "Show me the colony status," he ordered. The holographic display revealed the true scope of human expansion. While aliens focused on the mining operations and cultural exchanges, human colonists had been quietly settling those uninhabitable worlds. Each colony was carefully hidden and self-sufficient. "We now have settlements on 47 worlds," reported Commander Yejin. "All in systems the aliens consider worthless. Defensive capabilities? Each colony has underground production facilities for weapons and ships. We've reverse-engineered most alien technologies and improved upon them. Our new vessels use hybrid designs that exceed original alien specifications." Kyungsoo nodded with satisfaction. "Population status? Total human population across all colonies is now 800 million. We've been using medical advances learned from alien technology to accelerate reproduction and improve genetic diversity. The colonies were hidden in asteroid belts, on moons with toxic atmospheres and in star systems with dangerous radiation. Humans had adapted to these hostile environments using advanced genetic modification techniques stolen from alien medical databases. On the desert world of Zerion 3, human miners worked under the supervision of Korath overseers. The aliens believed they were extracting rare crystals for industrial use. In reality, the mining operation was a cover for building underground military installations. Foreman Wu Jin coordinated the real work through coded signals. While aliens watched humans dig crystals from surface deposits, massive excavation equipment carved out hidden bunkers deep below ground. The extracted materials were smuggled off-world in modified mining transports. "The next shipment is ready," Wu Jin reported to his Korath supervisor. "Good. The quotas must be met." Supervisor Grex never bothered to inspect the shipments personally. Human labor was reliable and required minimal oversight. What Grex didn't know was that each shipment contained hidden compartments filled with advanced weapons and communication equipment. The primitive humans had been building a secret military network right under alien supervision. In the administrative center of Villani Prime, Trade Minister Glix reviewed the economic reports from human-controlled operations. The numbers were impressive. "Productivity has increased 30% since we began using human workers," his assistant reported. "They seem naturally suited for mining and manufacturing." "Excellent. Perhaps we should consider expanding human operations to other systems." "There have been some minor technical issues," the assistant continued. "Equipment failures have increased slightly across all facilities with human workers. Maintenance problems are normal with older equipment. The increased productivity more than compensates for repair costs." Glix dismissed the report without further thought. He had no way of knowing that the equipment failures were carefully orchestrated. Every breakdown provided opportunities for human technicians to install additional monitoring devices and system vulnerabilities. As the 4th year of Union membership ended, humanity had achieved all of its Phase 2 objectives. The aliens remained convinced that humans were content in their subservient role. Trade flowed smoothly, quotas were met, and there were no signs of rebellion or resistance. In his final cultural report of the year, Ji-hoon wrote, "Human adaptation to galactic civilization continues successfully. Our species has learned much about universal friendship and cooperation." The report was filed in Villani archives without special attention. After all, it was just another routine document from a primitive but harmless species. Hidden within the report's metadata was a coded message that reached every human colony and agent throughout the galaxy. Phase 2 complete. Phase 3 authorized. The pack has learned to hunt among the stars. The stars looked different through the viewport of the New Horizon. Captain Hyun-woo pressed his palm against the cool metal wall and watched the swirling colors of hyperspace fade into normal space. After 3 years of travel, humanity had finally reached the coordinates where alien signals originated. "Captain," Navigator So Young called from her station. "We have company." 3 massive ships appeared on their screens. Each vessel was 10 times larger than the New Horizon and covered in strange geometric patterns that hurt to look at directly. Hyunwoo had never seen anything so beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "This is Trade Minister Glix of the Villani Commerce Union," a voice spoke directly into their minds. The translation felt wrong somehow, like wearing clothes that didn't fit properly. "You will prepare for boarding inspection." Chief Engineer Tae-min looked up from his console. "Captain, should we—" We comply, Hyunwoo said quietly. Remember our mission. The alien boarding party arrived within minutes. Glick stood nearly 3 meters tall with skin that shifted between blue and silver. His forearms moved independently as he examined the human ship with obvious disgust. Behind him came 2 shorter beings with red scales and too many teeth. Hyunwoo recognized them from Earth's databases as Korath military officers. Primitive, Glix declared, running one hand along the ship's wall. Chemical rockets for propulsion. Metal alloys we abandoned centuries ago. How did you even achieve faster-than-light travel? We are still learning, Hyunwoo replied. We hope to trade knowledge with other species. The Korath General Vex laughed, a sound like grinding glass. Trade? You have nothing we want. Your planet is barely past the Stone Age compared to galactic standards. So Young stepped forward with a data pad. We have rare Earth elements. Platinum, lithium, uranium. Our surveys show Earth has large deposits. Glix's eyes brightened with interest. Now you speak of useful things. We will examine your planetary resource reports. For the next 4 hours, the aliens went through every piece of human technology aboard the ship. They spoke freely in front of the humans, assuming the primitive species couldn't understand their advanced languages. So Young activated her recording devices and captured every word. Look at this, Vex said in Korath battlespeak, pointing at the ship's weapons. They still use explosive projectiles. My youngest offspring could destroy this vessel with a training weapon. The species shows promise for manual labor, Glix replied in Vellani trade tongue. They appear physically strong and psychologically compliant. We should classify them as Category 7 minimal threat and establish standard exploitation protocols. Taemin continued working at his engineering station, apparently focused on routine maintenance. His fingers moved across holographic displays that the aliens assumed were simple diagnostic tools. In reality, he was recording detailed scans of every alien device brought aboard the ship. Captain Hyunwoo, Glick said, switching back to the awkward mental translation. The Galactic Commerce Union has decided to offer your species membership. We are honored, Hyunwoo replied with a slight bow. Your planet will provide 70% of all rare Earth element production to the Union. In exchange, we will protect Earth from hostile species and provide basic technological upgrades. So Young looked shocked. 70%? That seems... The terms are non-negotiable, Vex interrupted. Many species would consider extinction preferable to Union membership. You should feel grateful. Hyunwoo studied the contract display that appeared in the air before him. The terms were brutal. Earth would become little more than a mining colony, with humans serving as the labor force. Any refusal would result in immediate military action. We need time to consult with our government, Hyunwoo said. You have 1 standard hour, Glix replied. Refuse and your homeworld burns. The aliens returned to their ships to wait. As soon as they were gone, the human crew gathered in the ship's small meeting room. Taemin activated privacy screens that would block any alien listening devices. They're not offering membership, So Young said angrily. They're demanding surrender. 70% of our resources would cripple human development for generations, Taemin added. We'd never catch up technologically. Hyunwoo remained calm. What did we learn? Their translation technology creates a mental link, So Young reported. I recorded the data streams. We can reverse engineer it within months. Their weapons use directed energy, Taemin continued. Plasma-based, but the containment systems have obvious weak points. I've already identified 17 ways to disrupt them. Most importantly, So Young added, they completely underestimate us. They spoke freely because they assume we're too primitive to understand their languages or technology. Hyunwoo nodded. Excellent. Phase 1 objectives are complete, sir. Taemin looked confused. We came here to learn about galactic civilization, Hyunwoo explained. Mission parameters stated clearly. Appear weak, gather intelligence, establish human presence in galactic politics. We've accomplished all 3 goals. So Young understood first. The 70% resource extraction will give us legitimate access to their mining technology, transportation networks, and industrial processes, Hyunwoo finished. Every alien supervisor will become an unwitting teacher. Every mining operation will become a training ground for human engineers. But our people will suffer under their rule, Taemin protested. Some sacrifice is necessary for species survival, Hyunwoo replied. Earth's governments knew this day would come. We've been preparing for first contact scenarios for 50 years. This is actually one of our better outcomes. When the aliens returned, Hyunwoo was ready with his answer. Earth accepts Union membership under the stated terms, he announced. Glick seemed pleased with how easily the humans had surrendered. Wise choice. Mining operations will begin within 6 months. Your species will be relocated to designated work areas. We are grateful for the Union's protection, Hyunwoo said with another bow. As the alien ships prepared to leave, Vex made one final comment to his subordinates in Korath battlespeak. Mark this system as pacified. The humans will make excellent servants once properly broken. Taemin heard every word through the recording equipment and translated for his captain. Hyunwoo's expression never changed, but So Young noticed his hands clench briefly into fists. Set course for Earth, Hyunwoo ordered once they were alone. Maximum speed. Sir, So Young asked carefully, what do we tell the World Council? We tell them the truth, Hyunwoo replied. First contact was successful. We have identified the galactic power structure, confirmed the hostility of major species, and established our initial position as apparently harmless servants. And then we begin Phase 2. Hyunwoo turned back to the viewport, watching alien ships disappear into hyperspace. They want to teach us our place in the galaxy. Let's be very good students. Taemin activated the ship's long-range communications array. The message he sent to Earth was simple. Package delivered. Contents as expected. Begin unpacking procedures. Back on Earth in a bunker deep beneath the Himalayas, Fleet Admiral Kyung-soo received the coded message and smiled. The Terran Defense Initiative had been planning for this exact scenario since the first radio telescopes detected artificial signals from space. The aliens thought they had found easy prey. They were about to learn that humans were very patient hunters. We killed the largest carnivores on our planet with sharp. The war lasted exactly 18 standard days. When it ended, the galactic balance of power had shifted forever. Admiral Jae-hyun stood on the bridge of the Earth battleship Retribution, watching the last Korath stronghold surrender through the view screen. The fortress world of Korath Prime, home to the military caste that had terrorized smaller species for centuries, now flew human flags alongside white banners of capitulation. Sir, reported Communications Officer Yu Jin, we're receiving surrender requests from the 8th, 9th and 12th Korath battle groups. That makes 47 fleet units that have laid down arms today. Jae-hyun nodded without satisfaction. There was no joy in this victory, only the grim completion of a necessary task. Acknowledge their surrenders. Direct them to the nearest human-controlled station for processing. The humans had not conquered through superior numbers or more powerful weapons. They had won through something far more terrifying: complete understanding of their enemies' weaknesses. Every alien species discovered that humans had been studying them for 7 years with scientific precision. The maintenance workers had mapped every critical system vulnerability. The cultural ambassadors had identified every social and political fracture. The research assistants had analyzed every military doctrine and tactical preference. When the war began, humans knew exactly where to strike for maximum effect. The Villani learned this lesson when their industrial heart was severed in a single coordinated attack. Human forces didn't target military installations. They targeted the 3 processing stations that refined rare earth elements for the entire Union. Without those facilities, Villani technology simply stopped functioning. How did they know? Trade Minister Glix asked his emergency council, staring at reports of the surgical strikes. Those processing stations were classified beyond top secret. The human who worked in our archives, replied his aide weakly. Cultural Ambassador Ji-hoon. He had access to historical industrial records for his research into human-alien cooperation. Glix realized with growing horror that every friendly conversation, every cultural exchange, every act of apparent human curiosity had been part of a vast intelligence operation. The primitive species they had condescended to had been systematically dissecting their civilization from within. On the frontier world of Nexus 7, human forces demonstrated their new military doctrine to a captured Korath garrison. General Subin addressed the alien prisoners with clinical detachment. Your military philosophy emphasizes honor, courage, and direct confrontation, she explained to General Crix, who sat bound in restraints designed for Korath physiology. These are admirable qualities, but they make you predictable. Human cowards, Crix spat. You fight without honor. We fight to win, Subin corrected. Honor is a luxury for species that don't face extinction. When survival is at stake, humans become very practical. The demonstration that followed was educational. Human forces had surrounded the Korath Military Academy, where thousands of young warriors trained. Instead of attacking, they had simply waited. Cut off from supply lines and communication networks, the garrison had lasted exactly 11 days before starvation forced surrender. Not a single shot was fired. The mighty Korath war machine had been defeated by logistics and patience. You see, Subin continued, humans are persistence hunters. We don't need to be stronger or faster than our prey. We just need to be more patient and better at planning. The lesson was repeated across the galaxy as human forces employed siege tactics that alien military doctrine had never anticipated. Species that had built their entire military philosophy around decisive battles found themselves outmaneuvered by an enemy that refused to fight fair. But the most devastating weapon in the human arsenal was not military technology, it was information. Dr. Young Ho, of the Earth Historical Documentation Project, had spent the war years broadcasting a continuous stream of data to every inhabited world in the galaxy, not propaganda but simple recorded facts. The complete audio logs of first contact negotiations proving that alien leaders had deliberately deceived Earth about treaty terms. Financial records showing the true extent of resource extraction from human worlds. Medical reports documenting the working conditions that had killed thousands of human miners. Most damaging of all were the casual conversations between alien leaders discussing their plans for humanity's future. The laughing references to breaking human spirit. The detailed proposals for genetic modification programs to create more compliant human workers. The debates over whether humans possessed enough intelligence to be considered truly sentient. Your own people are learning the truth about their governments, Young Ho announced during his daily broadcasts. Every species now knows how their leaders truly view inferior races. Tell me, how many of your citizens still believe in the benevolence of galactic civilization? The psychological warfare was devastating. Rebellion broke out on dozens of worlds as subject species realized their true status. The Galactic Commerce Union, built on the lie of mutual cooperation, collapsed as its member species learned about the exploitation they had been blind to. On Volani Prime, riots erupted as newly enlightened citizens demanded answers from their government. The Hicks engineering caste formally seceded from Korath space and requested human protection. The Turlaxian Assembly voted to abolish their military and declare permanent neutrality. We created this, Admiral Vex admitted during his final communication with Earth forces. We taught you that mercy was weakness, that cooperation was exploitation, that advanced civilizations survive by dominating primitive ones. Yes, Admiral Jae-hyun replied simply. You taught us that. Now you understand the consequences of that education. The war had revealed something terrifying about human nature that the aliens had failed to recognize. Humans didn't see other species as competitors or resources. They saw them as either family or threats. There was no middle ground. Species that had accepted human offers of alliance found themselves protected by the full might of Earth's military. The Hicks, Turlaxians, and dozens of smaller species discovered that humans treated allies like family, members, beings to be defended at any cost. But species that had threatened or exploited humans found themselves facing something unprecedented in galactic history, a predator species with advanced technology and no concept of proportional response. The problem, explained Dr. Young Ho during his final broadcast, is that humans evolved as pack hunters. When one human is threatened, all humans respond. When humans are killed, we don't seek equal retaliation. We seek the complete elimination of the threat. This principle was demonstrated when human forces reached the Korath homeworld. Instead of demanding surrender, they presented the Korath High Command with a simple choice: complete demilitarization or complete extinction. You have 48 hours to destroy every weapon on every Korath world, Admiral Jae-hyun announced. If we detect a single military installation after that deadline, we will consider your entire species a permanent threat to human safety. You cannot expect us to render ourselves defenseless, protested war leader Zeth. You should have considered that before you tried to enslave our children, Jae-hyun replied. Humans do not forget. Humans do not forgive. Humans do not show mercy to those who threaten the pack. The Korath complied, destroying centuries of military tradition in a desperate attempt to survive. Their proud warrior culture was dismantled piece by piece under human supervision. The Villani received more lenient terms, but only because their crimes were economic rather than physical. They were required to pay reparations equal to 3 times the value stolen from human worlds and to accept permanent human oversight of their industrial operations. But perhaps the most chilling development was the message that human forces began broadcasting to any species that might be listening from deep space. This is Admiral Subin of the Earth Defense Force. Speaking to any species that has received this transmission, you have just witnessed the destruction of galactic civilization as it existed for the past 1,000 years. This outcome was not humanity's choice. It was the inevitable result of threatening human civilians. Understand this clearly. Earth will never again accept second-class status in galactic affairs. Humans will never again work under conditions that we do not approve. Any species that attempts to exploit, enslave, or eliminate humans will face complete annihilation. We are not conquerors. We are not empire builders. We are a family that has learned to defend itself. Cross us at your own peril. The message was transmitted on every frequency used by galactic civilization, ensuring that any species with radio technology would receive it. It was also carved into monuments on every world that human forces had captured, written in 12 different alien languages. As the war ended and human forces began the process of establishing new governments on former alien worlds, one fact became clear to every survivor. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again. The species that had been dismissed as primitive servants had taught their former masters a lesson that would echo through the stars for generations to come. Never threaten the pack.